All right, we got an ox body dump truck bed, and it's got a custom gate on it that is set up to be either a barn door or a swinging gate. And customers just been fighting it for a few years, having problems with it. So we are going to take off everything that was customized. Here's the original bed here. This is all the custom work. This is some custom work here. So we're gonna fab a new gate. This is probably the original gate, but they had to shorten it. Here's where they spliced the tubing on this side. And then you can see here that this tubing is about the factory width. So right now this gate is too narrow to line back up where it needs to be. So we're gonna get going, removing all this material. We're fixing to drop the gate first, got it rigged up. And see if we can get it knocked out. Where you going? Where were you going? Getting these holes drilled for the ears up there to mount the new gate on. Got our HMT mag drill here, and we cut out these plates here with the C and seamless, so they all come out identical. And when I do stuff like this, the hole just had to be pretty close to this general area according to my measurements, and I just positioned the mag drill so that the hole landed right in there. And I clamped this piece, and I took this just piece of steel. This ends up being a little wedge, but anything would have worked. I've got the plate flushed up with the side of this table, and I got this wedge clamped on there. So as long as my mag drill stays in the same spot and that wedge doesn't move, all I have to do is flush up the edge and make sure the plate is up against that wedge, and the holes will line up in the same spot every time. No measuring involved.
I'm sorry. Yep.
All right, guys, in this dump truck bed, getting this thing finished up. There's some minor crack going on that we're gonna pick up for the customer while we're doing all this work. And one thing I did yesterday that I wanted to point out, that, you know, every time I've done anything on a dump truck gate, these sides are never straight. And to install a new gate, you need to get them straight. In the past, what I've done is, you know, weld a bar across here, maybe two, and then spread those apart with wedges. But the problem that you run into is if one of these needs to go more than the other one, you don't have any control if you just got a bar from here to here, a spreader bar, porta power, or anything like that. So what I come up with, I thought about this right before we needed to spread these apart, is the way I've got this configured is these are just pieces of square tubing. Anything heavy gauge would probably work. And we've just got some small tacks down there where it was touching the floor. And then we just let it rest up against the side here. And we welded this piece of plate. In the beginning, I put this piece of plate about 1/4 inch above the top of this piece of tubing, just enough to get the tip of that wedge in. So once you start in with the wedge, it starts pushing this piece downward. In return, that is going to fold the side of this dump truck body out. And once the wedge gets good and tight, you can take and hit with the hammer right here, and that shock will vibrate the pressure against this tubing right here, and it'll relax it. And then once you hit the wedge again, it'll feel loose. And then you just keep doing that process, driving that piece of tubing down, and it's pushing that out. That way you can take some measurements, make sure this side is square, and then you can do the same thing over there. That gives you control with both. And this one, the wedge was actually protruding out past, interfering with our door or gate. So you just simply just tack it off once you get it where you want it. And that leg right there has it locked in. Once we get the gate hung and everything like we like it, we've already done the test fit and it fits good. Once we get that, we're going to, you know, once we get the gate pinned up, everything's done, we'll take these legs out, and then the gate will hold these sides square. So that's just a little tip. I use these wedges and pieces of plate. You can't, I don't want to do this work without them. I'm not going to say you can't do it without them, but using wedges, the amount of force a wedge and a piece of plate will put on something is pretty impressive. And it's just very simple to always find some plate wedges. You can put them in different configurations, and this is a piece of tubing. You can see we use it all the time for things like this. It's a piece of 3/8 wall, 4x4 square tubing. But just thought I'd share that with y'all.